Welcome to Frontrunner Motorsport.
So we have had a look at the Formula 2 grid for 2020. Now let's look at the Formula 3 field and its massive 30-car grid. Prema dominated last year, but all three drivers have moved on to Formula 2, so they will have a new lineup. Also, Piquet, Lundgaard, Vips and Tsunoda have also left the series, leaving a lot of seats open for new drivers coming through. Again, we will start with the team's champions from 2019 and work our way down. Happily, all 10 teams remain in the championship, so we will have an easy way to compare and have a guess at what will happen in 2020. With that said, let's begin. And we start with Prema, who have had to replace all three of their drivers after coming first, second and third last year. They've grabbed Logan Sargent from Carlin, a strange move as he finished 19th overall last year and had a few crashes here and there. Frederic Vesti won the 2019 Formula Regional European Championship for Prema, beating a host of now Formula 3 drivers, and Oscar Piastri won the Formula Renault Euro Cup and has now joined the Renault Driver Academy, as well as being mentored by legend Mark Webber. All three drivers looked pretty good, but to me this doesn't look as strong as their lineup last year, but Prema always do well in Formula 3, so they may be the pick of the field. High Tech have lost talented Estonian Yuri Vips to Super Formula, and Yi Yifi and Leonardo Polcini have also flown the nest. So again, three new drivers, and Liam Lawson is a great signing. Losing the Toyota Racing Series to Igor Fraga, I think Lawson will have the bit between his teeth. He has to do better than last year when he finished 11th overall. In 10th overall in 2019 was Max Futrell, who has joined High Tech from ART. He is a capable podium finisher, here and there at least, as is Dennis Hager, who is a Red Bull Junior and last year's Italian F4 champion. A good talent base here. Lawson and Futrell are definitely capable, and Hager is an interesting prospect. All change at ART as well. Lundgaard took the team's single win last year and has moved on to Formula 2, whilst Futrell has jumped to High Tech and Beckman is racing Porsches in the Middle East. But I don't know his plans beyond this, maybe more Porsche racing, I don't know for sure. Replacing them are German F4 champion Theo Pourchaire, who is also a Sauber Junior team driver for what that is worth. Alexander Smolyar, who is a Russian with no real impressive racing stats behind him, finished third in Spanish F4 and Eurocup Formula Renault. And Sebastian Fernandez, who raced for Campos in Formula 3 last year and scored no points, but I watched him in the Asian F3 Championship and he looked pretty good at times, pulling off some good overtakes, so he'll be the one to watch in this team. Trident are the first team on the list to actually retain a driver, with Canadian Devlin De Francesco. Not sure if this is a good idea considering he scored no points last year, but someone at Trident obviously likes him enough to give him a second chance. Replacing Pedro Piquet, who has moved to Formula 2, and Nico Kari, who has changed teams, are Lirim Zendelli, who I watched earlier this year in the Toyota Racing Series and seems like a steady hand, but struggled with the Charouz team last year at this level, and Ollie Caldwell, who is a British driver with nothing much to talk about in regards to his career so far. Raced at Macau with Trident, that sadly is the highlight of his short career. Jake Hughes remains with HWA Race Lab, and honestly he is one of the most experienced drivers in the field. This is his 5th year at this level, racing in the GP3 series as far back as 2016. A single win on his way to 7th in the overall standings last year. He needs to do better really. Bent Viskel and Kevin Andras have been replaced by Enzo Fittipaldi and Jack Doohan. Jack Doohan put in a good title challenge in the Asian Formula 3 Championship over the winter and probably would have won that championship if it wasn't for a couple of punctures at the last round. And Enzo is an Italian F4 champion who looks to do better than brother Pietro Fittipaldi, who seems to be floundering a bit. But we will have to see how Enzo Fittipaldi does at this level. Definitely an interesting lineup with plenty of talent on tap. Could be a good year for HWA. MP Motorsport have retained Richard Verschoor for another year. He actually started with the team in 2018 in GP3. He scores points but never seems to do anything spectacular. Joining him will be fellow Dutchman Bent Viscal from HWA Race Lab, and looking to do a lot better in 2020. And Lucas Dunner, the Austrian, has nothing of note to his name and MP Motorsport have a very unimpressive lineup for this year. I expect them to struggle greatly. Genza Motorsport had 6 different drivers last year, and of those 6, only Yuki Tsunoda scored any points for the team, and he has now fled to Formula 2. Leaving a very big gap for Genza to fill, they have brought back Federico Malvestiti, who technically finished 34th of 34 in last year's championship. He did only have 2 races though, and needs a full season to show if he's capable of anything. His most impressive stats to date, finishing 14th in Formula Renault Euro Cup, so I'll pass on him thanks. Kaylen William has won regional single-seaters championships in Australia and has raced in the Toyota Racing Series, but has never achieved any real success in Europe. And Matteo Nannini, nephew of former Formula 1 driver Alessandro Nannini, he is only 16 years old and last year won the United Arab Emirates Formula 4 Championship and is the driver with the most potential here, but I think this team will probably finish last in the championship. Complete change at Charouz, but then 2019 was probably a disappointment for them. Zendelli has switched to Trident, Fabio Scherer has gone to DTM with Audi for 2020, and Raul Hyman, who liked to crash and to spin, has not announced his plans for 2020 yet, so God knows what he's doing. Replacing them are Nico Kari, who is joining from Trident, a straight switch for Zendelli, and it's hard to tell who gets the best deal there. Igor Fraga, who won the Toyota Racing Series earlier this year and is known as the fastest gamer in the world, he is definitely one to watch this year. As is David Schumacher, cousin of Mick, son of Ralph and nephew of Michael. David Schumacher made a brief cameo appearance in F3 last year with Campos and is just starting his first full year. This is an interesting lineup of potentially very good drivers for Charouz, who will be definitely looking to do better in 2020. Carlin were awful last year. Drugovich was their best driver in 16th, and he has now moved on up to Formula 2. Logan Sargent was 19th by year's end and has been plucked by Prema, and Tepe Natori scored a single point on his way to 24th, and he too has moved on to the new Super Formula Lights in Japan. Replacing them are last year's British F3 champ Clement Novalak, who won the series for Carlin and was an obvious choice to move up. Enam Ahmed is also a British Formula 3 champion and has won races in the Formula 3 European Series in 2018, so he has experience at this level. And Cameron Daz, who has raced in America and Europe and with Carlin previously. I don't know how these 3 are going to fare in Formula 3. I'm expecting midfield runners, maybe occasionally poking their heads into the top 10. Our final team on the list are Campos, and they have hired some spectacular crashing drivers. Alex Peroni raced for the team last year until this happened.
I think we now can show you what happened to Alex Peroni. Oh my goodness me. That is a horrific sight. Very serious crash for Alexander Peroni into the fence.
And joining him will be Sophia Florsch, who did this to an advertising board at Macau. Alessio Delada is also kept for a second year in a row, but he is a pretty nothing driver. I've only ever seen him struggle. Alex Peroni and Delada scored 5 points between them for Campos, with Sebastian Fernandez in the third seat. All 5 points were scored by Peroni. Florsch, apart from her big crash, has never been overly successful, but the 3 of them can only do better than Campos did in 2019. And that is the field covered. Disappointed no W Series drivers were added to the field. Jamie Chadwick and Bytes Kavissa definitely deserve the attention of one of these teams, but maybe at some point in the year replacements will be made and we will see some changes to the grid. It's looking like a good year of Formula 3 racing ahead and some interesting challengers for the title. My picks are Igor Fraga and Liam Lawson to be up there, Sebastian Fernandez too, but Prema will win again with Frederic Vesti. As I said, Prema dominate at this level, and Vesti has beaten most of his field in other formula, so my money is on him. With that said, remember to leave your thoughts on the Formula 3 2020 Championship in the comments below, subscribe to the channel, and have a good one.